Power is not given, it is taken, and once taken, it is defended not by luck, but by knowledge. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He knew that fortune, enemies, betrayal, and even death are always waiting just beyond the door. Yet he also believed that the man who studies human nature, who strips away illusions and understands the true laws of power, can become unshakable. Nothing can defeat you. Not betrayal, not misfortune, not even overwhelming odds, if you know what Machiavelli knew. His lessons are not gentle, they are not comforting. They are dark, sharp, and often cruel. But if you are willing to learn them, they will arm you with something stronger than hope. They will arm you with certainty. This is not a lesson in morality. This is not about being liked or admired or even loved. It is about never being crushed, never being outmaneuvered, and never being left defenseless. Let us walk through Machiavelli's darkest insights, lessons that, once burned into your mind, will make you dangerous, untouchable, and impossible to defeat. 1. Know that loyalty is an illusion. The first and harshest truth Machiavelli forces us to confront is that loyalty does not exist in the way most people wish to believe. Men are not bound by unshakable devotion, nor by eternal gratitude, nor by noble principles. They are bound only by their own advantage, by the pursuit of pleasure and by the avoidance of pain. When times are good, when fortune smiles, when your power is stable and your influence is profitable, they will gather around you and swear eternal allegiance. They will speak as though they would die for you. But these words are only masks. The moment the winds shift, the moment standing beside you begins to bring danger, hardship, or uncertainty, their so-called loyalty evaporates like smoke. They will retreat into self-preservation, and many will turn against you without hesitation if it means saving themselves. This is not cynicism. It is the natural law of human behavior, and it is the very reason why great rulers throughout history have been betrayed not by strangers, but by those who once called themselves allies. Machiavelli's brilliance lies in stripping away the illusions that make men weak. If you accept the fragile and conditional nature of loyalty, betrayal ceases to be a shock. You are no longer blindsided by treachery because you anticipated it from the beginning. Instead of leaning on the shaky crutch of devotion, you design systems where faithfulness is irrelevant. You do not tie people to you with the rope of sentiment, which frays at the first strain, but with the iron chains of necessity. You make their survival, their profit, their reputation dependent on your continued rise. You teach them through subtle fear and careful reward that remaining close to you is always safer, always more beneficial than standing against you. They do not remain because they love you, they remain because they cannot afford not to. The lesson here is as dark as it is liberating. Nothing destroys a man faster than misplaced trust. Many great leaders have been ruined because they believed too deeply in the loyalty of those around them, only to discover that loyalty is an illusion that vanishes under pressure. The wise man, the Machiavellian man, never expects loyalty, so betrayal cannot wound him. Instead, he expects self-interest, and he crafts every relationship around it. Once you embrace this truth, betrayal ceases to be a threat. You become untouchable because you no longer place your survival in the trembling hands of human devotion. You free yourself from illusions, and in that freedom lies your invincibility. 2. Fortune favors the bold, but destroys the hesitant. Machiavelli compared fortune to a wild, unpredictable woman, fickle, untamed, and unwilling to submit to the timid. She does not wait for the cautious man who hesitates, who tries to negotiate with her, who stands at the edge of opportunity, hoping for a sign of safety. She despises hesitation, because hesitation is weakness. Instead, she yields herself only to the man who dares to seize her, who acts with force and certainty, who does not wait until every condition is perfect before he moves. Fortune, like power, is seduced by boldness. She belongs to the man who dares to strike when others are still paralyzed by doubt. The tragedy of the hesitant man is that he loses everything while believing he is protecting himself. He tells himself he is waiting for the right moment, that he needs more clarity, more certainty, more guarantees before he commits. But this waiting is nothing more than fear disguised as wisdom. In war, the general who waits for perfect intelligence is destroyed by the commander who advances first. In politics, the leader who dithers is overtaken by rivals who act while he deliberates. And in life, the man who hesitates watches every chance slip from his hands, taken by those who were willing to risk more, move faster, and act without hesitation. Machiavelli's lesson here is merciless but undeniable. Fortune betrays the cautious, but she kneels before the decisive. Risk will never vanish, danger will always exist, but boldness has a strange power. It forces the hand of destiny. The man who acts boldly may fall, but at least he has a chance to triumph. The man who hesitates has already surrendered without realizing it. Fortune punishes him not with a dramatic defeat, but with the slow, quiet death of missed opportunities. If you can train yourself to move with speed, to strike before others are ready, to take what you desire without waiting for permission or perfect timing, you will gain an advantage that few can ever match. When you internalize this truth, hesitation dies in you, and with its death comes invincibility. No enemy can defeat a man who moves faster than fear. No rival can outmaneuver someone who understands that opportunity does not wait, it must be seized. Boldness is not just a tactic, it is a shield against defeat. Once you master it, fortune herself becomes your servant, and nothing, not misfortune, not rivals, not even fate, can stand in your way. 3. Fear is stronger than love. Among all of Machiavelli's lessons, none has been repeated more often or resisted more fiercely than his declaration that it is better to be feared than loved. At first, it seems cruel, even monstrous, to place fear above affection. Yet Machiavelli did not write for dreamers. He wrote for those who wanted to rule, to endure, and to protect themselves against betrayal. Love, he argued, is soft. It is unstable, fragile, and dependent on the moods of others. It can inspire warmth in good times, but it cannot withstand hardship. The moment men are asked to choose between their affection for you and their own survival, they will abandon you without hesitation. Love dissolves under pressure because it is a luxury. Fear, however, is a necessity. It grips deeper than affection ever can because it speaks to the most primal instinct of all, survival. Machiavelli was not blind to the temporary unity love can create. He acknowledged that affection can inspire loyalty for a time, that it can make men follow you in moments of prosperity. But he saw the truth hidden beneath. Love is always conditional. It is given freely, which means it can be withdrawn just as freely. It demands constant feeding, constant reassurance, constant performance to keep it alive. And the moment you fail to provide, the moment fortune turns against you, love fades into resentment, disappointment, or indifference. Fear does not require such maintenance. Fear is efficient. A single demonstration of strength, a single decisive act of punishment can create a boundary that endures for years. Where love asks for constant attention, fear demands only consistency in enforcement. This is not to say Machiavelli advocated cruelty for its own sake. He warned against becoming hated, for hatred invites rebellion. His advice was calculated. Inspire enough fear to ensure obedience, but not so much cruelty that it ignites rage. It is a balance, a weapon to be sharpened, not a blunt instrument to be swung wildly. The wise ruler, or the wise man, does not terrorize without reason. He creates an aura that says, "Cross me and you will regret it." That aura alone is enough to keep most men in line. The man who understands this truth becomes immune to manipulation. He is not swayed by the desperate need for affection, nor vulnerable to the shifting tides of approval. He does not beg for love, because he knows it cannot be relied upon. Instead, he cultivates respect rooted in fear, the kind of respect that does not bend with time or circumstance. And in a world as brutal as ours, this is the only respect that lasts. Love may inspire songs, but fear commands armies. Love may win hearts, but fear secures thrones. When you embrace this lesson, you stop asking to be liked, and you begin ensuring that you are never defied. In that moment, you cross the line from fragile to undefeatable. Deception is the sharpest weapon. Force can conquer bodies, but deception conquers minds, and it is the mind that governs all action. Machiavelli understood that most men are blind, guided not by truth but by appearances. They are satisfied with illusions, easily swayed by what seems noble, generous, or honest, while rarely peering deeper to see what truly lies beneath. This weakness is a gift to the cunning, because it means that to control men, you do not need to control reality, you only need to control perception. And perception is forged through deception. The weak man, bound by false notions of honor, believes he must always speak plainly, always reveal his intentions, always keep his dealings transparent. He imagines that honesty is strength, when in truth it is exposure. A man who shows his full hand invites exploitation. A ruler who cannot disguise his motives makes himself predictable, and predictability is vulnerability. The powerful man knows better. He hides his claws behind a smile. He cloaks his ambition in the language of service. He disguises his cunning behind gestures of kindness. By deceiving others into underestimating him, he multiplies his power without ever drawing his sword. Machiavelli praised this duality as the balance of the lion and the fox. The lion terrifies with strength, but strength alone can be trapped, outmaneuvered, or destroyed. The fox survives through cunning, slipping through snares, deceiving hunters, and turning enemies against themselves. To be only a lion is to be predictable. To be only a fox is to be too fragile. But to combine both is to become invincible. You strike like a beast when the time is right, but until that moment comes, you mislead, distract, and deceive so completely that your enemies never know where or how the blow will fall. Deception is sharper than steel because it wins battles before they are fought. It allows you to topple enemies without open war, to secure loyalty without trust, to silence rivals without lifting a hand. The man who masters deception never exhausts himself in endless struggle. He lets others destroy themselves chasing shadows, while he moves in silence toward his goal. This is why Machiavelli insisted that appearances matter more than truth. Because men believe what they see, and the one who controls appearances holds the world in his hands.
Once you understand this, you see deception not as dishonor, but as liberation. You are no longer chained to the naive expectation that others will reward your honesty or respect your transparency. Instead, you embrace the darker wisdom, that the world belongs not to the truthful, but to the convincing. And the man who convinces, even through lies, cannot be defeated, because he shapes reality itself in the minds of others. Deception is not just a weapon, it is the sharpest weapon, the one that cuts deepest without leaving a visible wound. Control is everything. Appearances are the battlefield. Machiavelli's final and most piercing lesson is that power does not reside in truth, but in appearances. Men, he wrote, judge far more with their eyes than with their minds. They do not investigate deeply, nor do they search for reality beneath the surface. They are content with what they see, with what they are told, with what seems convincing. And because most men accept appearances as reality, the man who controls appearances controls the world. This is why rulers parade wealth, why leaders stage ceremonies, why conquerors build monuments. These displays are not vanity, they are weapons. They shape belief, and belief shapes obedience. The fatal mistake of the weak man is to confuse truth with power. He believes that because he is just, he does not need to appear just. Because he is capable, he does not need to demonstrate strength. But this is blindness. The masses cannot see into your heart. They can only see what you choose to show them. If you are merciful, but do not appear merciful, you will be judged cruel. If you are wise, but do not appear wise, you will be dismissed as foolish. And if you are strong, but do not appear strong, you will invite attack. Truth without appearances is invisible, and invisibility in politics, in war, and in life is death. The man who understands this truth masters an invisible battlefield, the battlefield of perception. He knows that reality does not need to be genuine, it only needs to be convincing. He can act with ruthlessness, but cloak it in the language of justice. He can be calculating, yet appear generous. He can strike mercilessly, but veil it as necessity. By controlling appearances, he wears masks that protect him from scrutiny while bending the minds of others to his will. Enemies waste their strength fighting the image of him they see, never realizing that the real man is operating in the shadows, untouched and undefeated.
This is why Machiavelli taught that it is not necessary for a ruler to truly possess virtues, but it is absolutely necessary to appear as though he does. Appearances are armor. They are the shield that keeps suspicion at bay, the mirror that blinds others, the stage upon which power is performed. Reality can be ugly, harsh, and ruthless, but if the performance is convincing, the world will applaud. Power does not belong to the one who is the most virtuous, but to the one who appears untouchable, unshakable, and inevitable. When you master this final lesson, nothing can defeat you, because the battlefield of appearances is one you alone control. Your enemies may outnumber you, but if their perception of you is carefully shaped, they will fear to strike. Your rivals may whisper, but if your image remains unbroken, their words scatter into nothing. And even if you falter in truth, appearances can conceal weakness until you recover. Control is everything, because control of appearances is control of reality itself. Machiavelli's dark power lessons are not for the faint of heart. They strip away illusions and leave only the raw mechanics of power. Loyalty is an illusion. Fortune bows only to the bold. Fear endures longer than love. Deception is sharper than truth. And appearances rule the world. If you understand these truths, not just with your mind, but with your bones, you become untouchable. Betrayal cannot break you. Misfortune cannot paralyze you. Enemies cannot outmaneuver you. Because you will always see the game for what it is, a contest not of morality, but of strength, cunning, and control. Machiavelli did not write for the weak. He wrote for those who wanted to survive, to rule, and to remain unbroken against the chaos of life. And his message is clear: nothing can defeat you if you know this.